Good. Good to see you guys again. It was nice to have the week off. Always good to go into the bye week with a win under your belt. And we got a little rest as coaches on Saturday. The players were obviously off on Saturday and practiced again yesterday, and they're off again today. Normal game week schedule this week. So pleased with how they handled the open date. We got our developmental guys, quite a bit of scrimmage work, about 60, 70 snaps within the 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday of scrimmage work, and felt like our older guys got better as we asked them to. Injury update: BJ practiced yesterday, so I would put him as probable. Colin and DeMarvion are going to try to practice tomorrow as it stands right now, and we'll know a lot more about their status after tomorrow's practice. And then Jordan Whittington is just now starting to run on the ground. I don't know that this weekend is out of the question, but we're certainly not expecting him to be cleared for this one. Questions?
Start up front in the middle, Dennis.
Coach, with the secondary beaten up right now, what's the confidence? So you've recruited well in the secondary, you've developed well. How much confidence do you take for them to maybe hold the fort this next month while people heal up?
Yeah, I don't know that it's a hold the fort mentality. We've got Chris Brown, we've got Brandon Jones. Both those guys were, in the first 4 weeks, definitely our two biggest playmakers. Deshaun Jameson had worked his way into a quasi-starter at the other corner. So we're going to miss those guys for the length of time that they're out, in Caden, Josh, and Jalen. But we're pretty confident with the guys that we will be rolling out there this Saturday and for the weeks coming forward.
Back middle, Steve.
Hey, Coach, did you I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Oklahoma State game this week, but with Hubbard running off for almost 300 yards, have you had a chance to go back and look at your film and see what you guys did to stop him so well? And also, is that a boost going forward? And you got to stop the run, right?
Oh, I didn't watch a snap of it, and probably won't until we play Kansas State. But I did hear about the night he had at 297 yards or something like that. And so, yeah, I think it gives everybody in the organization some confidence, knowing that we held such a powerful rushing attack, and obviously not just the attack, but the running back himself. We got a ton of respect for him, and to hold him to 3.3 yards per carry, and I think just one touchdown there towards the end of the game, it kind of makes us, I think, all pretty staunch believers in our run defense.
We're here on your left, Chip.
Tom, can you talk about playing to your own standard and going on the road this week, coming off the bye week? What?
Yeah,
that means?
it'll be, a lot of these young guys, it'll be the first time they get on an airplane to go to a game. It'll be the first time a true, quote, hostile environment, and that venue is a very difficult one to play in. We were there 2 years ago. But at the end of the day, these guys have played a lot of football. The field's 120 yards long, 53 1/3 yards wide, and when the ball is kicked off, where you're playing the game is irrelevant. And if we choose to make it that way, to allow an opposing crowd or the fact that you're on the road affect your play, that's a choice that you make, and hopefully most of our guys choose opposite of that.
In the middle, Ed.
Coach, your thoughts about West Virginia, the new look West Virginia with the new head coach, Neil Brown. And the second part of the question is, your quarterback turns 21 today. Have you given Sam any advice about turning 21, and what did you do on your 21st birthday?
It was so long ago I can't remember, and maybe that does have a little bit to do with what I did that day. My birthday's in the summer though, so I had a lot less at stake than Sam does. So I think I'm sure he enjoyed himself this weekend with friends and family, but I haven't talked to him at all about it. And then I believe it's Derek Kerstetter's birthday as well. So happy birthday to those two guys. And then, I've got a ton of respect for Coach Brown. I think the one thing that jumps off the film is they're playing really, really hard and physical. And then schematically, it's difficult. They try to get their athletes on offense in space and create some confusion with their stand-up end in number 33. And, what they do in the secondary is a little bit unique. So it'll be a good test for both sides of the ball.
Your left, Danny.
Tom, on Saturday, would we expect to see Jake and Brandon both back there for punt returns and, coming off the mistakes like they made in the Oklahoma State game? Do you address them differently since obviously one's a freshman and one's a senior captain?
No, I mean they're both unique instances when they dropped it. Jake's was more a lot more fundamentals. He'd let his hands get low and his elbows got separated, and so it's just a consistency with perfect technique that he's got to work on. And Brandon, that's my fault. I mean, we have harped on him for 2 years about fielding every punt, and because it just drives you bananas as a head coach when you let punts drop and then they roll, and you lose 20 yards because the guy won't go catch a dang punt. And we should have reminded him the situation in the game, like, hey, if there's any stress on this, let the punt drop on the ground, let it roll, and we'll take some time off the clock. And because the clock is more important at this point than the 10 to 15 yards that you could save us by being so aggressive. So he was doing what he thought he was being coached to do, which was save that field position. But at that moment in the game, we should have done a better job of alerting him of the situation.
On your right, Setter.
That's what we talked about in the past. You guys had some problems dealing with prosperity, but you win the Sugar Bowl, and now you're one of the top-ranked teams. How important were those lessons that you learned from last season, a couple of seasons ago, that's kind of helped some of these guys now?
Yeah, I think all the lessons that this team has learned from last year's team are important. There's a lot of good lessons to be taken from last year's team as well. But I don't think, it's just we're too young, not young age-wise. We're not far enough along in our development as a program to have any sense of enjoying prosperity. We've got to come to work every day to get better, to go 1-0 every snap in practice, and I just, it's unfathomable to me that anybody in this program right now at the stage that we're in could feel anything resembling comfortability.
Back left, Joe.
Tom, you mentioned, you mentioned getting the developmental guys some work last week. Was there anybody in those scrimmage situations that stood out, or anybody that's in that developmental group that, with their progress, over the last few weeks, has impressed you or that you're excited about?
I'm going to leave guys out, I'm sure, but I've been impressed with the way David Benda runs and hits. Myron Warren's got a good future here. Tyler Johnson has improved a ton from this spring. The two young tight ends are going to be really good for us. Kennedy Lewis has had a good couple weeks, even on the scout team. And again, I know I'm leaving guys out, but those are the ones that jump into my head.
In the middle, Roger.
Tom, you said it's a player's choice if they let the crowd affect them. Do you think it's just become kind of expected that going on the road it's tougher? Do you think it's because the home team maybe gets some more juice so they play a little better, but it's almost like, we're going on the road, it's going to be hard. Well, what you said is, shouldn't be any harder than being at home if we do what we're trained to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're, I think, 6-2, John, since we've been here in true road games in the conference. So, you know, we've our team has found ways to kind of irrelevant is not the right word, but I think home teams usually get a little bit more excited. You know, there's something to be said about sleeping in the same hotel bed that you sleep in your whole career and all that stuff the night before, and the routine of being at home certainly helps. But you know, I feel like our guys do as good a job as I've been around of being able to tune all of the distraction, whether it be in the routine or the noise of the crowd or anything like that, and really kind of just focus in on their job.
Up front, Brian?
Yeah, Tom, with the off week now behind you, you're going to push forward a series of games. And I wonder, what in your mind do you know that this team can do week in and week out, and what are you still like, still not sure?
I know that we can stop the run. I know that that our quarterback is, you know, as good as there is in the country at managing the game and you know, getting us into good plays and out of bad plays. You know, I'd like to see us defend the pass a little bit better, whether it be in man or zone, and then some consistency in the run game. You know, we've had back-to-back weeks where, you know, we felt pretty good about it. So I think we're headed in the right direction there.
How would you describe Austin Kendall as a quarterback with his strengths? And second part, are you worried about communication issues with no Caden and no Jalen Green back there?
No, those guys, I mean, we practice with the music blaring and all that stuff, so I don't think that'll be an issue. The communication part. And then Austin Kendall, I mean, just you can tell, I mean, this is the fifth, I think he's fifth-year senior. I know he's a grad transfer. I wasn't sure how many years of eligibility he had, but it just, you know, he's very savvy. The ball comes out quick. You know, you can tell he understands the offense. He's fun to watch. He's a good player.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Bob.
I don't know how much attention you paid to the ruling in California this morning about hiring college players hiring agents and that kind of stuff, but how massive a shift would that be for one state to allow it, going against the NCAA, all of those kind of things, and in recruiting as well?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics, so for me to comment on them would certainly be way too premature. I have been on record as saying, you know, I do believe that we need to find a way to get student athletes more for their name, image, and likeness, but I don't know the specifics of all that stuff that's going on in California.
And then second, I don't know if frustration's the right word, but I sensed something with Keontae that you wanted more out of him early in the year. Where do you think, I mean, I know it's shifted a little the last couple of weeks. Was it the brace? Was there something that confidence-wise that he just needed? What do you think it is with him?
I think, you know, the biggest thing we tried to teach him was one, you know, technically being patient. I thought he was really patient against Oklahoma State behind the line of scrimmage, and you know, it's the old adage: slow to the hole, fast through the hole. And then just the 1-0 mentality. You know, he's a very self-critical guy that it's a good trait to have, but you've got to learn from it and then move on, and not every now and again you're going to go 0-1. The key is don't go 0-2. You know, don't let one mistake lead to another one.
Far right, Joe.
Both Coach Holgerson last year and Neil Brown come from air raid influences, but what are some of the biggest differences between the Will Greer-led team and then the team with Austin Kendall? And under Coach Brown?
Oh, I got to be honest with you. We've played so much football since the last time we played West Virginia that I don't even remember a whole lot about what they did offensively. I know that both coaches have made a big commitment to the run game, where some guys from that tree still believe in the short, quick passes as kind of your run game. But other than that, for me to compare the two teams, I have no idea. I can't remember anything much from last year's West Virginia team.
On your far left, Jeff?
Tom, you've talked before about some of the great nose guards, you've been around in your time as a coach, and not to put Keandre in that group, but what type of impact, given the way he played against Oklahoma State, if he can replicate that, what does that give the defense, first of all, and then as an opposing play caller, what does it do for you when you've got a nose that can just be disruptive snap after snap?
Yeah, I mean, you go from Ed Oliver to Poona Ford to Chris Nelson. Those are three really, really good players, and now Keandre. The thing I like, I don't know, what it does for opposing play callers, but I love the way the kid comes to work every day. He's got two speeds, full and off, and when he's on the practice field or game field, it's full. And I think his demeanor, and his likability. I told him the other day that if he takes care of his business off the field because of his work ethic, his level of play, and his demeanor, I could certainly see a scenario where that guy would be a captain before he left here, and that's always good. The previous 2 years, our nose guard has been a captain, and it's nice to have some leadership up there.
Back middle, Steve?
Coach, one more for you. I know with the schedule being in a segmented situation, did you wait until this week to do any installation at all of what's going on the rest of the year and just hold off some stuff for the rest of the year?
No. We've tweaked things. We've things that we're good at. We find new and creative ways to do those things that we're not good at. Find ways to not do those things. But they were all schemes that we had in since training camp.
All set? Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you.